Now, we're talking about Compass Admin, and one of the things that many people tell me, and we hear from several dealers, they don't want to become an admin dealer because they're gun-shy about the responsibility of managing their users and their company contacts. So they're afraid they're going to make mistakes. What if I delete a technician when I'm not supposed to delete a technician? Or what if I forget to delete a technician when I should have deleted a technician? That type of thing. So what I like to tell people is we have a permission role that's view only. It's a web admin view. And if you're one of those dealers that are hesitant about becoming an admin dealer just because you don't want that full responsibility of making those changes, I really suggest starting out with the web admin view, because then you'll get all of the information that I'm getting ready to show you right now, but it will be in a view-only state. So you'll be able to see all your users. You'll be able to see all your verbal passcodes for your technicians and stuff. You'll be able to see all that. Now, if you need to make changes, you'll still have to contact dealer support or CMS just like you do now. But it's a real good way to kind of get used to it, because once you get used to it, then you're going to see what we do, see the information is there. Then you're going to want to become a full admin dealer and just make the changes instead of having to call us or email us for those changes. You can do it real time and be done with it. So what am I talking about with admin? Well, in this same menu right down here, you're going to see administration. And when I click on this, my dealer is an admin dealer, full access admin dealer. Admin dealer only. He does not have, I don't have message center. So you're only going to see the 4 tabs. That's all we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about message center in a couple weeks, actually. We're going to have a guest presenter, a guest host with us in a couple weeks that's going to dive into just only message center and the benefits of being a message center dealer at CMS. Like I said, my dealer is not a message center dealer, so I've only got 4 extra tabs. Now, every single Compass user, if you're a dealer user, you've got these 2 tabs under admin. You've got my profile and default settings. Those are another topic. That's where you can go in and change your password. You can change your email address, that type of thing. Default settings is you can customize the way the page looks, and we can talk about that in another week. But what we want to talk about with the admin dealers are these first 4 tabs that you see: the manage users, manage permission roles, and manage subscriptions, and then company contacts. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about today. So you'll notice the very first tab that comes up as an admin dealer is manage users. So this is all of my users that I have under my dealer login, whether it be a dealer person or whether it be an end user using my alarms to log in. They all fall under my admin group. So I can manage all of those. I can create a new end user if I wanted to. If I've got a customer that needs to have access to their account, I can go in there and create a new username for them. If I just hire a new technician, I can go in here and add my new user and add him with a username and email, and then get him set up so that he has Compass and he can access it on the mobile or on the desktop. So what you're looking at on the grid right here is obviously the username. So these are all my usernames, and the email address. Now, it's really important for you to know that the username and the email address must be unique in CMS-Compass. Okay, so if I couldn't create a new username by just going by Jason or Bob or something like that, because it's probably already been used. We've been using these, we've got over 15,000 logins, so it's a real good chance that a single first name has already been used. So we want the usernames to be fairly unique. And then the email address must be unique as well. So this happens occasionally where one technician might leave one dealer and they go to work for another dealer. And they're wanting to use their personal email address, but it's still in use at the old dealer. We can't do that, because until it gets deleted from the old dealer, it's being used, and Compass sees that as an active email address. So it's real important for you to know that when you're creating users, you've got to have a unique username and a unique email address. So you can't go in here and say info@gmail.com for all of your users. It won't take it. You'll get an error. Okay, so you've got your username and your email address. We've got our type, which is just basically it's a dealer user or an end user. And then you can see myself. I've got my login right here is a dealer admin. So I've got the web admin full access. Now the role, we call this the permission role, and this is a really important thing to know. So your permission role determines what the user can do and what they can see in both Compass and in My Alarms. Okay, we'll get into more of that when we talk about the Manage Permission Roles tab. But keep in mind that this is a big difference from where we used to be in CMS Connect. which is our predecessor of this website. In CMS Connect, we had two roles and two roles only. It was basically WebMon, which allowed the user to make all data changes and see everything and do everything. And you had WebView, which meant they can see everything, but they couldn't do anything. It was all view only, just like I said. It was very, very black and white, no customization whatsoever. One of the benefits with Compass is we are able to customize this. So we've got about 65 different permission roles available right now that we've created at CMS that are available to the dealers. And then when we come up here to this tab, I'm going to show you how an admin dealer, you as an admin dealer, can go in and actually create your own customized roles that are good just for you. We don't see them on the CMS side. No other dealers have access to them. They're just yours. Okay, so the permission role is very, very customizable. If you might have an end user that's at a bank and you don't want them to be able to see the passcodes or the contacts, just be able to place the account on test. You can create a role for them that would do just that. Okay, so we'll talk a little bit more about that, like I said, when we get to the second tab. So permission role, that's what they can see and what they can do. The test category is if they're allowed to place accounts on test using Compass or My Alarms, the test category determines or shows you the default time and the maximum amount of time. So you can see I've got different ones on here all over the place. For Anita Mann, her default time is 2 hours. So whenever she goes to place an account on test on Compass, it's going to automatically default to 2 hours. That's good for her quick on test. So if she's on a mobile device and she's on her phone and she goes to use the quick on test feature, it's automatically going to place it on test for 2 hours for her default time. That'll give her plenty of time to get the service work done that she needs to while she's at the site. Okay, but she can go in and she can extend the test period up to 180 days. So you'll see the little slash mark. Everything to the left of the slash mark is the default. Everything to the right is the maximum. So Anita has 2 hours default, 180-day maximum. I've got Archie here. He's an end user. He's got 24 hours. It's going to default to 24 hours. It's going to max out at 24 hours. He can't go any more than that. And then I've got Bob. He's got 8 hours default, 8 hours maximum. So that's what he's going to do. He's a different end user. He wants a little bit more control over him. You can see I have 1 hour default, 180. So just keep in mind, whatever, and you're going to see a bunch of test categories when I go to create a new user for us here in a second. You're going to see a bunch of test categories, but you're going to notice everything to the left of the slash, that's what it's going to default to. Everything to the right, it's going to be the maximum. For most of our dealers, the default, I should say our dealer personnel, dealer logins, the default is this one right here, 1 hour. It's called online 1 hour. Okay, and I'll show that to you in just a second on the ad. So it'll be 1 hour default, 180 max. But we created some different ones for there because of the quick on test feature for the mobile devices. You know, I had dealers saying, hey, my technician wants to use the quick on test, but it's defaulting to 1 hour, and that's not enough for him. So we created some additional online test categories for like 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, and 8 hours. They still have the same maximum time of 180 days, so they can extend it out pretty far. But when they use that quick on test on the mobile device, it's going to default to those, whatever we set it up for. So I'll show those to you in just a second when we create our new user. Now, our status is just they're registered. So if you're creating a new user for Compass or My Alarms, you just need to let them know, and you have probably already gone through this process because you have a valid Compass login right now, but you're going to get 2 emails from noreply@myalarms.com. The first is going to be an email verification. You're going to open that up. You're going to click a link that says click here to verify your credentials, and then that's going to take you to the login page of Compass. The second email is going to give you your username and a temporary password that it creates. You're going to use that username and temporary password to log in for that very first time. Then the system's going to walk you through the initial login process, make you update your password, make you answer some questions for security questions, and then it's going to get you in there. So you just want to let your users know, your dealer technicians or your office people or even your end users, to expect those 2 emails from noreply@myalarms.com. So while those have gone out, if they have not clicked on the email verification, it's going to say pending right here. So it's going to let you know. Now, all these have registered, so every one of my users have verified their email and they've logged in for that initial time, so they're registered. Okay, now this next column that I want to talk about is a really cool column that This has always been there, but we made some adjustments to it a couple months ago to help the management process of an admin dealer. And even if you're a view-only admin dealer, you get this benefit. So you'll notice as I put on here, it kind of changes the color. I don't know if you can see that or not, but if I click on this last login, this is showing me the last time Anita Mann logged in was yesterday at 12:03 p.m. Eastern. Now watch, if I click on this, it's going to open up a box and it's going to show me the last 30 days of login history for this user. So now I can look and see every time Anita has logged in to Compass, and it's going to show me the login date and time. It's going to show me the last date and time of activity, and it's going to show me how long she was logged in. So you can see this very first time she was logged in for 1 minute and 3 seconds. Okay, and it's also going to show you on that last column whether it was from a mobile device or not. So now I can know if my people are logging in from their desktop. I can know if they're logging in from a mobile device, from their phones, and I can see if they're logging in after hours when they shouldn't be. Okay, so it's just a good management tool to see how often they're logging in and if they're logging in when they shouldn't necessarily be logging in. Okay, so that's the login history, and it just rolls over every 30 days. So it's fresh information the last 30 days. So tomorrow will be a different 30 days. Okay, so that's the last login. Again, it's a nice management tool for you as an admin dealer. Now, if you have full access as an admin dealer, you're going to have these actions out here to the side. Maybe you create a new user, a dealer technician or something like that, or someone in your office, and they say, hey, I didn't get the email verification email you're talking about. You can resend that to them. You just click the envelope, and that will send them a new email verification. They might also say, hey, I didn't get the temporary password. Can you send me a new temporary password? And you click the little key right there, and it's going to send them a new temporary password to use. So these two icons can basically replace the two initial emails that go out if your people say they don't get them. This icon right here is to disable the user. So let's say that Anita is going on vacation and is going to come back in 2 weeks. I don't necessarily want her logging into Compass while she's on vacation, and I don't want to delete her because I don't want to have to add her all the way back in. So this button right here allows me to disable her temporarily. So I click on that icon, and you'll see Disable User, and it'll say, are you sure you want to disable? You click the red button, and now I've disabled her. So success, user has been disabled successfully. You click OK. That dialog box goes away, and now you're going to see that she's been updated, and now she's got a green check to go, okay, now let's re-enable her when she comes back from her vacation. It's the same thing here. Okay, so that's just to disable, and that's a nice tool too, again, because if you've got people going away, you don't want them logging in to your accounts while they're not working, but you don't want to delete them altogether because you don't want them to have to go through that whole process of the login again. Now, if I need to delete this person, Anita's got full access right now, so she can go in and she can make any data changes, but let's say that she's been making some mistakes, and I'm tired of the mistakes, so I'm going to change her to view only. The edit pencil right here just looks like a pencil. You click on that, that's going to open that page up, and then I can change her permission role to web view or whatever else that might fit for that. Okay? Now, the next icon that I want to show you really fast, this is another management tool, and it's a brand new icon that we've added just in the last couple months as well. This is showing me the most recently accessed account by this user. So again, this is a good management tool for me to check on my people and see what accounts they're pulling up. So I can click on that, and it's going to pull up the dialog box, and it's going to show me my most recently accessed accounts by Anita Mann, and you'll see it shows the account number, the name, all that information is there. So this is just basically taking, if you've been in Compass before, you know that from the accounts page, one of the buttons there is most recently accessed accounts. This is a snapshot of that. So when I say management tool, it's really nice because you can look at this and you can say, hey Anita, why did you pull up the Luke Skywalker account? You weren't servicing that account. You didn't do anything on that account. Why are you on there? So I can kind of, do some checks and balances and find out what accounts they're pulling up and why they're pulling them up. And that's what that little pin is going to show you. So that's going to show you the most recently 20 accounts that they've accessed. This last one, this is on throughout CMS-Compass. It's an archive table. So anytime changes have been made to this user, it's going to show up in the archive table. It's going to show who did them. So that's the archive table. And then if I do want to delete her, let's say she just didn't work out right, I want to go ahead and wipe her out, I can go ahead and click the trash can and delete that user. Okay, so that's this main page of the managed users. So what do we want to do? We want to add a new user. Let's say we've got a brand new technician. So we click the blue button. It's real simple right here. And this is the add user page. It looks almost identical to the edit user page, but obviously all the fields are blank. Anything with an asterisk, as you see here, is a required field. You need to fill that out. So username, again, we talked about this earlier. It needs to be something, it needs to be unique. And everyone's kind of gotten used to that. Everyone's got online usernames and passcodes and stuff like that on bank accounts and retail accounts and stuff like that. So you're used to having a unique username. The user types, I just clicked a D. I want this to be a dealer user, not a dealer admin. I'm the admin for our company, so I'm the only one that's going to be the admin, but this is going to be a dealer. And then here's our permission role, okay? So now I can decide what role I want to give. And like I said earlier, we've got a ton of different roles set up. We only give admin dealers a handful of roles to start with. We don't want to inundate you with all 65 of the roles because it would take you forever to go through them, okay? But you've got a handful of them, and then basically what we tell everybody when they become an admin dealer is, hey, if there's a role that you're thinking of or some permissions that you're thinking of and you don't see them here, contact dealer support or your BDSR or shoot me an email or something like that. Say, hey, I'm trying to create a new user and I want them to be able to do this but not do this. Does that exist? And we can tell you pretty quickly if that role already exists, and if it does, we can give your username access to those. But as you can see here, I said we had 65 total at CMS. This dealer or user definitely doesn't have 65, but I can sit here and I can go through here and, Jason Demo 1, he's going to be WebMon. So he's going to be full access. We're giving him full access for Compass so he can make data changes, he can do whatever. Now my test category, like I was telling you earlier, we do have a ton of different test categories, and they're all in here. And usually when you see like 3-hour test, that's going to be the default, and then it's going to have a max that shows up at the bottom. Okay? But like I said earlier, for most of our dealer users, we use one of the online test categories. So you see online test 1, 2, 4, 6, and 8. All of those have a maximum of 180 days. So you just say, what do you want? If I've got an install technician, let's say that Jason Demo 1 is going to be doing installs for me. I want him using the quick on test on the mobile. So I know that installs tend to take, more than 1 hour, more than 2 hours sometimes. So I might give him a 6-hour online test. So that way that when he uses his quick on test to place that account on test quickly, it's going to automatically go to 6 hours. He can clear the test when he's done, but it's going to be 6 hours. He doesn't have to worry about extending it while he's doing his work. Okay, so again, if it's a dealer personnel, you're probably going to want to use one of these right here. Our default, just to let you know, if you call us to add a new technician for you or something like that, and you don't tell us what the test category is supposed to be, our default is the 1 hour. 1 hour default, 180-day max, okay? But these allow you to customize the length of time or the default times for your technicians. So we got 6 hours there. We've got first name, last name. We'll just do Van Meter, and we're just going to type in the email address. You type it in there twice because it wants you to make sure it's correct. Again, this email address has to be unique, okay? Now, I don't know if I've ever used this email address because it's not a real email address. My email address, by the way, everyone, is jvanmeter@cmsn.com, not jasonvanmeter.com, or jasonvanmeter@cms. So I don't know what it's going to do. If it's already been in use, I will get an error here in a second, and it will tell me that it's already in use. So we scroll on down. We've got our top section done. That's our username, our permission role, and we've got our email address in there. Now, we talked about billing and payments a few weeks ago in our chat session. If I want to give this person access to the billing and payments, I can simply click this button right here next to under the dealer billing. This is a technician. I don't need to give him access to the billing and payments. I don't need him seeing that, so I'm going to leave that unchecked, okay? Now I scroll on down here, and this is where you give access to either the dealer number. So if this is a technician and I want to give him access to all of the accounts under one of my dealer numbers, as you can see, I have 2 dealer numbers, C-Watch Alarm and Just a Mirror Alarm. If I want to give him access, he's only going to be doing work for Just a Mirror. I can simply click this button right here next to the dealer number, and now you'll see he has access to 1 dealer number. Okay, if I want to give it to both, because he might be doing some service work for Sea-Watch as well, I can go ahead and click that, and they're both checked, and they're both listed down here. Okay, so that's how you do it for a dealer. But let's say, for example, that he's not a dealer. Let's say, for example, this is an end user that I'm setting up for my alarms. Really, really simple. I click this drop-down arrow, I select CS number, and then I just type in the CS number that I want to give him access to. So 5152, right? That's the Hertz Donut and Coffee Shop. So that pulls up, and I can select that, and that shows the account down here. Now he's got access to just one location. Let's say that he's a property manager, and he wants to have access to 2 or 3 accounts. So all the accounts that he's managing, he wants to have access with one username. You can do that. You just change the deal or the account number. There's the Archie Griffin account, and he's handling the SpongeBob SquarePants account, making sure the pineapple stays watered. So now he's got all 3 locations listed down here. So again, if he's an end user, you're going to do typically by CS number. If it's a dealer personnel, you're going to end up doing it by dealer number. So in this case here, we know from up at the top, I selected dealer, right? So let's uncheck everybody, and we'll go back to our service company number, and we're going to select the 2071950. He's good to go. That's all I have to do now. So I've got everything set up on this account. I've got my username in there. I've got his permission role, the test category that I want him to have. I've got his email address in there twice. They should match. If it doesn't match, it will let me know in a second. And then I've got the dealer number he has access to. All I need to do now is hit save, and we'll see, yep, bingo. So I have used this for training purposes. So there's the error message that you're going to get if you try to use an email address that's already been used. Okay, now in this case here, let's just do this and see what happens. So we're going to adjust this. So it goes away. So now it's done a verification on the back end, and it says, okay, that should be a good email address. So I scroll back down here to the bottom. Everything else stayed the same, and now I just added my new user. So you can see Jason Demo 1 has now been created, and there's his email address. He's going to be getting the 2 emails from noreply@myalarms.com, and you can see everything else. There's his verification pending because he hasn't verified his email address yet. Okay, so that's the managed users. So that's pretty simple. And like I said, even if you start out as admin view only, you'll get used to kind of seeing this information, and what needs to be put in there. And once you get comfortable with the roles and the test category, then it just becomes like second nature setting up users. So we talked about the roles though, right? So you don't know what all these mean. What's web admin full? What's web sub view only? What's web sub VZEC? So to find that stuff out, we go to our second tab, which is manage permission roles. This is going to list every permission role that you have access to. Okay, and like I said, when we start out, we're giving you access to a handful of permission roles. So you'll see all these stupid letters on here that we kind of just put in here to try to help define what they are, but you're not always going to know what WebView NCNR or WebView NR is, or VZEC. So what's the secret? Well, go ahead and highlight that, and it's going to show you over here on the right-hand side. There's your category. Now here's your description. It's view only with on and off test capabilities, no contact pins, no reports. So no contacts, no reports. That's what your NCNR stands for. If I go down here, this is just so you know, if it starts with web sub, it's an end user. Okay? So web sub VZEC, end user, view zones, edit contacts, testing, and the mail-out report. Okay, so the description tells you what this is up here. But if you want to get into really deep into it to find out exactly what this person has access to or what this permission role has access to, you've got this section down here. And you can open up any of these areas and see what they have access to. Now, like in this case here, this is a web sub view. So web subs, My Alarms users, don't have access to the dashboard. So the only thing they can do is manage the supervised open and close if they happen to be a supervised close and they have a schedule on their account. So can I change these? No, I can't. So you notice that I get the little red circle on here. So anything that CMS has created, you can look at, but you cannot edit. So it's good to know that. You can still look at it and you can say, okay, this is pretty much exactly like I want, except, I want them to be able to edit their location. And this one actually already can. So bad example. So let's go to Web View. So Web View, this is view only, on-off test with histories, or with reports. So now I want to look at this thing, and maybe, I look at this and I go, my technician doesn't need to have the newsroom. Can I get rid of it here? No, I can't. But this is what I do. What I want to do is go over here to this icon, and I can duplicate this permission role. And I can click on that. It's going to say copy of Web View. I can rename this, so I can say Web View, no newsroom. That'll work. Why not? We'll wipe that out, right? And now, view on-off test, no newsroom. So there's my description, right? Web View, no NR. And you can do whatever you want. So I've got dealers that are using this, and they're not naming them anything like we're naming. They're being more descriptive of what they know exactly what it means. But in this case here, I know what this means. It's Web View with no newsroom. Right there it is. So now I need to go down here and edit this. Since this is one that I've created myself, I can edit it. So now you'll notice I don't get that little red circle anymore, right? So now I just uncheck this box. It's empty. So now I've completed it. Done. So now I've got my new role created, Web View, no NR. I can go back to my manage user roles, and I can go ahead and update any users that I want to have this role so that they don't have the newsroom. Okay? Now, that's a long description and detailed information. I will tell you this. Most of our admin dealers are not creating their own permission roles. Okay? Because why? Well, because we have 65 of them created right now. So there's a really good chance that we already have something created that you want to use. So that's why I say contact dealer support, contact your BDSR, contact me, and find out if it already exists. And if it already exists, we can just give you access to it. But on the other hand, if you want to become really autonomous and really work on this yourself and not have any of our roles, I've got a couple dealers out there, they don't use any of our roles. So they don't see WebMon, they don't see WebView, they don't see any of that stuff. They've hand-created every single one of their roles and named them exactly how they want to name them. And that's available to you if you want to get that deep into the weeds as well. But most people like staying in the shallow end, so they use the roles that we have. And that, we can add as many as you want to your access. Like I said, we just give you about 5 or 6 to start with, just so you don't get inundated with those. Okay, so that's your manage permission roles. Our next tab is a fairly new tab. This didn't used to be on here more than a few months ago. This tab will show you any scheduled report or subscriptions, is what they're called in Compass. I'm used to calling them scheduled reports because that's what they were for the first 18 years of my career at CMS, in CMS Connect and eAccess and MassLink. They were scheduled reports. But now we're calling subscriptions. They make a little bit more sense that way. So this is the way that you as an admin dealer can see any subscription that's set up under your dealer numbers. Now, we like to, suggest you have one single username that's designated only for your subscriptions, okay? Because if you have everyone in your office adding subscriptions to their usernames, it gets a little convoluted, and what ends up happening is if Anita has a bunch of customer mail-out reports set up under her username, and she quits, and I go in and I delete her username, guess what? All of those reports get deleted at the exact same time. There's no way to move those reports to another user. So if I delete her username, it deletes those reports as well. So that's why we like to suggest having one username, and it can be a fake username, something like your dealer number, like 2079150 reports. Would be mine. I would create 2079150, that's my dealer number, and then put RPTS or the word reports after it. And I would use one of my company email addresses, like info@justamiralarmservices.com or sales or whatever. So you just use one of those, and then that way you can get logged in and you can add all of your reports to there. So it's great in theory, and that's what we suggest, just because of the ramifications of deleting a user, not knowing that they had reports in there, which is one of the reasons that led to this tab. So now you can go to manage subscriptions. I can select service company number, and I can say 2079150, and I can click apply. Now it's going to show me every single report that's set up under that dealer number and what username created it. Now in this case here, as you know, if you've been with me for the last 11 weeks, I'm a really small company. I'm like a one-man shop, so I'm doing everything myself. So I've got all my reports set up under username j.van.meter. So this is a good way to check out. So if Anita quits, I'm getting ready to delete her, I want to go to the Manage Subscriptions tab first. I want to make sure that she doesn't have any reports set up underneath her that are going to customers. The customers are obviously the most important, so you want to make sure nothing gets messed up with them if you end up deleting her username. And that's really what you want to use this Manage Subscriptions for, is just to kind of double check, see who's creating users or reports under their usernames. And then you can also edit them if you need to. So in this case here, you'll see I've got these 4 that are set up. If I want to add my new technician to any of these, I can click the pencil and I can go in and edit this, and I can go ahead and add, there's jason.vanmeter at cmsn.com. Boom. He's been added. So I can edit that. There's his monthly time, 3:39 a.m., and that's the period that it's going to do. I hit save, and now I've updated that subscription report. Okay, so the managed subscription is really nice to be able to do exactly what it says, manage your subscriptions. Again, make sure that none of your users, before you delete them, have subscriptions set up underneath them. Okay, so manage subscriptions is your 3rd tab. Your 4th tab on here is company contacts. We'll spend just a few seconds on this one. So this is all of your people, or all of my people in this case, that have a verbal passcode on my account, right? So I'm looking at this one. I have access to 2 different dealer numbers, 900-999, which is C-Watch Alarm, 207-915, Just a Mere Alarm Service. This is what I just started up. So I can click on the blue arrow, and I can see everyone that has a passcode on my account. Well, look at this. I'm the only one. So shame on me, I forgot to add Anita. I got her added with a Compass login, but now she can't call into dealer support to verify a false alarm or do any of that stuff, or even ask a question, because she doesn't have verbal passcode on my account. So I want to add her to my account, right? It's almost like exactly adding the contacts, which we did a couple weeks ago on the data entry part 2 section of Compass Chat. It's pretty much exactly the same way, but a little simpler, because you just go in here and you add contact, and you can see I don't have a whole lot of information that I need to do. I select my dealer number that I want to add Anita to, and then I'm just going to type in her name. You'll notice I'm typing lowercase. It doesn't matter. It's automatically going to capitalize stuff for me. And if I want her just to have her passcodes that she can call in for, or if CMS calls her, I just leave her set as general, and we'll add her passcode. Now we've got her authority level set to full access. That's fine. She can make data changes and place accounts on test, do whatever she wants. Maybe I don't want her to make data changes because, like I said, she's been messing up. So I changed her WebMon to WebView. I can also change her authority level to no data changes as well. So now she can place accounts on test. She can verify false alarm, but she can't make any verbal data changes to the account. So our default is 1, giving them full access, because we figure they're a dealer person. You're giving them access, so our default is 1, full access. But if you don't want them making data changes, you can definitely change them to level 2. That's all I have to do. All right. We've got our company. We've got our first name, last name, general, red, boom. We hit save. Okay. It's going to open up, and now we see Anita has been added. She's got her passcode. You can see it's all capitalized. She's not making data changes. She just got added on the 2nd. Now, if I want to change her later on, I can click the pencil and I can change her to full access if I needed to, just changing that authority level back to a 1. Okay. Now, the other thing that you can do with the company contacts, and this is really important and really beneficial. I can't stress how beneficial this is to you guys, is adding auto notification email or SMS to your company contacts. Okay. We've talked about before, if you're not a message center dealer, and if you're not a message center dealer, stay tuned for a couple weeks and you're going to see the benefits of being a message center dealer. But if you're not a message center dealer, you want to get notified quickly of any service requests that your customers give to CMS, right? Well, the easiest way to do that is set up auto notification on the company contact level. So, for example, what we do is we click the blue contact button, and it's going to be for this. Now, I don't want to put a person's name in here. I actually have a cell phone that I give to my technician who's on call, and that cell phone just gets passed around. It's just a company cell phone, and that's the on-call cell phone. So I'm just going to call that on-call phone. Boom. That's all it is. Okay? Name it whatever you want. It's just the last name has to be in there, so you put something in there. Now, it's not going to be a phone. It's going to be SMS, because I want to get a text message whenever sub-request service takes place at CMS. So we do SMS. Okay. Now our phone number pops up here. Now this gets turned on. You'll see this. I mean, again, we talked about this a couple weeks ago in part 2 of the data entry. And now my actions, I want to do service requests. And you know what? Since this is my on-call phone, I also want to do runaways, because it's really important. If my guy's on, or guy or gal is on call, they need to get notified of runaways as well. So I want them to get either runaway notifications or service requests. Now, all I have to do at this point is I've checked these off, and if I want to get more, maybe dispatch, maybe confirmed actual, whatever, but these are 2 really big ones that you should be adding to auto notification, so it happens real time. Now, we're still going to take the steps that we're supposed to take when a sub request service or something like that, but you can get notified like immediately as soon as our monitoring rep logs SRS, which is sub request service. Bang, it's going to go out to this phone number immediately. So all I need to do is hit save. I've added that action in here, and now you'll see I've got my 2 people on here with passcodes, and now I've got my on-call phone pending because they haven't accepted the welcome message. Since it's an SMS, we went over this a couple weeks ago, they have to accept the welcome message that they're going to get, and then once they do that, it becomes active instead of pending. Until they do that, it's going to say pending, and they're not going to get any messages, okay? So your company contacts is really good. Up until until we added this to the admin actually last year, you know, dealers were having to always call dealer support. Hey, can you add a new technician for me? Hey, can you delete a technician? Hey, can you update a password for me? You're doing all that stuff. Same thing with the managed users as well. Now you have the ability to do all that yourself. And again, I mentioned it before, if you want to do the web admin view just to kind of get your feet wet and kind of get used to what you're seeing, so be it. That's great. Contact us, your BDSR or dealer support, and we'll get you squared away. We'll get you all set up as a web admin view. And then once you get comfortable and you're ready to move on to the web admin full, we can definitely do that for you and help you out along the way. Now, I've kind of covered it in detail, but we also do offer even more detailed training with you one-on-one in our dealer support. We'll sit down with you and we'll do a webinar with you one-on-one. We'll go through your information, make sure you're 100% comfortable with it before we turn you loose, because obviously we don't want you making any mistakes. So that's going to wrap it up for today.